Will your children grow up Jewish? It all depends on their education. For more information about an Israeli scholarship, scan the QR code here.
Fewer than 3 months remaining now before Israel's fifth elections, and caretaker Prime Minister Yair Lapid's campaign fully kicked off. But Lapid's plan isn't the only one making headlines, with new parties, partnerships, and promises in the spotlight every day. So with me to discuss today's political map, political analyst and editor of HistoryCentral.com, Marc Schulman. Hello, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
So let's start with Lapid's new promises, including term limits for prime ministers, a bill to allow civil marriage, and more.
Yeah, the same promises. It's being repeated again. Obviously, all these things are popular. Civil marriage, particularly, is particularly popular. No one questions the need for term limits in the country. But, again, the art of Israeli politics is the ability to get things done and passed, and he tried, for instance, to get past the law not to allow someone who was indicted to run again. And of course, in this particular case, it was blocked by Yair Lapid. So who knows what the next coalition will bring, what's actually possible and what's not possible. Mm-hmm. That's the reality of Israeli politics.
Yeah, without a doubt. And the economy, of course, is also a major concern. The price of living, Prime Minister Lapid is saying he'll reduce the cost of living by increasing competition, reducing red tape, and creating 1 million high-tech jobs.
Yeah.
What I want to ask you is, would you say this topic would be the focus of the upcoming campaigns?
Well, we always hear it's going to be the focus, and then always when the election actually comes down, it usually comes down to security. It's the history of Israeli elections. We talk about economics, and then security people vote on. In terms of economics, there are simple solutions that no one wants to talk about. If you want to bring down the cost of food in this country, it's very simple. Remove VAT, value-added tax from food. We're one of the few countries in the world that adds VAT to food prices. You want to take care of food prices, 17% can be eliminated tomorrow morning, but no government seems to be willing to do that. You want to take care of cost of housing? Well, one of the oddities of this country is that all the land is owned by the government. You want to bring down the price of housing, sell the land at negative prices to people who are going to build the lowest prices. There are all sorts of really easy solutions. Bring in Costco, for instance, those people from America, bring in a store like that to compete in Israel. The same way that IKEA brought down the price of furniture, bring in a food store similar to IKEA into this country. There are ways to do it. Cutting red tape. We've been hearing about cutting red tape for as long as any of us have been alive. Let's put it that way. Do we want more high-tech jobs? Of course we want more high-tech jobs. But that's apple pie, as they say in American politics. We all want more high-tech jobs. You need to do some very serious things that no one is willing to talk about. Not Lapid, and not Netanyahu. They're not willing to make the actions that will actually bring down the cost of living, bring down the cost of housing.
Yeah, they're good in promising, not in actions. Now, several parties have joined forces. There is the alliance between Yamina and Derech Eretz, Ayelet Shaked and Yoaz Ender, the Blue and White Party alliance with the New Hope Party. How do these shifts change the projection for November in your eyes?
Well, two parts. One is we don't know. I mean, we look at these polls, but the reality is I don't know anyone who knows who they're going to vote for in this November yet. I mean, there are those who are for Bibi or against Bibi, let's say, but beyond that, no one knows who they're going to vote for. So the polls are really premature. We won't know until much later on. Second of all, the history of combinations in Israeli politics have never really worked. The only advantage of combination is to make sure that a party doesn't fall below the minimal threshold. So in this case, I think Yoaz Hendel and decided to move with Shaked because they both felt they'd be below the electoral threshold. I think they still might be together. It's not clear who their natural constituency really is at this point. The same with Gideon Sa'ar and Gantz. Again, I think Gideon Sa'ar feared he might be below the electoral threshold. In both cases, the combined combination has not shown any big jump in terms of the polling. But again, polling is really irrelevant at this moment. And the biggest thing that's going to determine the elections is going to be turnout. Mm-hmm. And there's no way to possibly understand what turnout's going to be now as opposed to what's actually going to happen on election day. With 3 months out, as we know, so much can happen in this country in 3 months.
Yeah, we're mostly concerned.
How large the Arab turnout is.
Yeah, we're mostly concerned about the situation of getting out of the deadlock and securing a more stable government.
We will not have a more stable government until former Prime Minister Netanyahu retires. I mean, let's be honest. That is the thing that has stopped us from having a stable government.
You're dismissing you're dismissing a third of Israel right now who are voting and wanting him to be Prime Minister.
I'm not dismissing a third of Israel. Not at all. I mean, I could say that he's been an excellent Prime Minister. All that's good and well. The reality is, talk about term limits. The reality is that in any given democracy, it's healthy for someone to replace the new blood to come into the political system.
A healthy democracy gives parties to choose who they want to be in the heads of the party, not like Yesh Atid, for example, which don't have even primaries.
I agree with 100%, but there's no primary this time in Likud either. Let's be honest. There's no primary.
They do have primaries.
Head of the. Yeah, but not
one of the only parties who still have primaries, actually.
Well, the Avodah does and Meretz does, but that's not the point. The point of the matter is that we're in this deadlock. 4 elections, and he wasn't able to form a government. In any other democratic system, the person would say, okay, I didn't succeed 4 times. It's time for someone new. I mean, Adlai Stevenson went twice, and that was considered too long when he went back a second time in the United States to run.
Yeah.
It just isn't the way it's done. I mean, if we want, without him, we'd have a right-center government in probably a matter of, immediately.
Okay.
But this is a problem, and I understand his needs.
And maybe the solution is to stop boycotts the Likud and Netanyahu. That could also lead to a solution. Marc Schulman.
But that's not going to happen, though.
Okay.
That's the reality. It's not going to happen. Enough of this country doesn't want
I think the Jews. I think the Jews should stop fighting, but that's my opinion. Marc Schulman, thank you so much for this interview. Thank you.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Will your children grow up Jewish? It all depends on their education. For more information about an Israeli scholarship, scan the QR code here.